This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, so I would like to welcome you guys to the webinar today. It's about the legalized degree. We talk about the step of each country, which is include the US, UK, Ireland, South Africa, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and Europe. And the people who missed this morning webinar is fine. This is the same content that we are going to run through. And after we present it, if you have any question, you can ask us. Okay, for the first step, I would like to advise that to avoid the unexpected costs and also some issue during the work permit process, we would like you to complete the legalized degree before you arrive Thailand or like soon after arriving Thailand. It make sure that you complete this with the Thai embassy. So it has to be have the red bird stamp like the slide on here. This is will be accepted from us, the Ministry of Education in Thailand.
Sorry, just to interrupt, but I can tell somebody is trying to enter. Just one moment.
Okay.
We've got more people coming.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I would like to continue. It's the same thing that the legalized degree is to work to the process of work permit, so you don't need to have it to arrive Thailand. So if you don't complete all the thing or you have it before you arrive, please make someone to mail it when you arrive here. And if you think it's gonna be delivered when you arrive in our office, you can ask us for the office address that you are going to mail it to here, or you can wait until you know the address of your placement and then you mail to there. And for okay.
Just to clarify, the reason why you need your degree legalized is because it's a little bit of an easy to replicate documents kind of place here in Thailand. So I guess somebody back in the past decided to get a fake degree and try to come and teach here. So they really want to be vigilant in checking that each person they invite over to their country here in Thailand to teach has a real degree certificate under their name. So that's why they make such a tedious process for you to get your degree legalized, but it's worth forever length of time for you to teach here in Thailand. So if you went away and came back, you'll always be able to use this legalization for Thailand. And also, if you have your degree or any of your legal documents in any other language besides English, they will need to be translated. Just with the true translation stamp, you can do this at many solicitors' offices and other legal places from your country. So just make sure that if you do have anything in any other language, that it's translated after that. For the first step, you need to have your original degree certificate. So I know some universities are going quite digital and they only really issue digital copies, but we do need the physical paper copy for us to start the first step to legalize your degree. And Thailand will need to see this original certificate as well, printed out from your university, not printed out digital version from online. So the first step to legalizing your degree is you get your original degree certificate, you scan it, and you take the scan and you do every single step with the scanned copy, not the original copy. So no one should ever mark your original copy. Please don't laminate your original or your legalized degree scanned copy. They don't accept anything that's laminated. And then you'll send this scanned copy off to do each individual step. So we will go through each of the countries quickly of what steps those include for your specific country. and also show you some expediting services and a few things to help you out along the way. Yeah, so basic overview. So for the US is a 4-step process. So the first step is to send your degree scan to a notary. This is just to let you know that this is definitely your name, your degree, sign it off. You can either go to your local notary service or you can send it in the mail if it's a little bit of a trek from your house. But then the scanned copy gets sent back to your house, whether you take it yourself or it gets sent in the mail. And then you send it off to the Secretary of State, depending on what state you're from, to get it authenticated. And then it gets mailed back to your house and you mail it back off to Washington, D.C. This section can take the longest amount of time. So don't worry if it's in this office for a couple of weeks. Every single degree in the country gets sent to Washington, D.C. for this step. So it does take a little bit of time. And then it gets mailed back to your house. And then you send it off to the Thai embassy that correlates with your address where you live in the US. So there's 4 different Thai embassies in the US. One's in Chicago, one's in New York, one's in DC, and one's in LA. So it depends on where you live that it will get sent to. So you will be trying to obtain this stamp at the very end. Is the Thai Garuda bird stamp. If they don't stamp it with the Garuda bird, it's fine. As long as it says Royal Thai Embassy, then you're complete. So if you've done the notary and the authentication, it's unfortunately not finished yet. So you must remember to complete all the steps. To do it yourself, this is about the length of time and about the cost to do all the steps yourself. And then this is what I mentioned regarding your address and your specific Royal Thai Embassy. So if you live in the green selected states, you've got LA, the yellow, Chicago, the blue, you've got Washington, D.C., and the orangey red color, you're up with the New York Embassy. This will also correlate to your visa when you send your visa off in a couple of weeks' time. When we send you the green light, it will ask a question saying it would like to see proof of your address, so it can see which embassy correlates to this particular address. That's what it's asking.
And the advertising service that we recommend the people use is from Monument Visa, which is around 125 US dollar. And no worries for this one. I will send the link. And also after this call, you will get an email for all the details in the attached file, and also the link of the webinar after this call as well.
And also with the expediting services, you do not have to use these services. It's just if you're busy with 2 jobs or whatever is going on in your life, you might need somebody to take it off your hands rather than the 8-way mail service, having to send your scanned copy in the mail so many times for the US. It does come at a cost. I wouldn't say that it's any quicker than doing it yourself if you're quite on top of the steps. For example, if you got it back from the notary and send it off to the authentication on the same day, it would be exactly the same time period as this. It just makes everything easier for you. So it's completely up to you if you want to use these services. Now we've got South Africa. So I'd say South Africa is the most time-consuming country out of everybody. So first you send it to SACA, and they verify everything. Then DIRCO is your federal level check. And then you send it to the Thai embassy in Pretoria. So the Pretoria Thai embassy step is probably the quickest. SACA and DIRCO do take quite a significant amount of time to finally gain this Garuda stamp once again. So 3 to 8 weeks at SACA, then 4 to 6 weeks at DIRCO, and then 3 to 7 weeks at the Thai embassy is about the worst case scenario. And this is the cost to do it yourself as well without postage included.
For the expediting service in South Africa, it's this company 123 address. This is the number and the address, also the Facebook page, but it's quite huge amount of the cost. It's around 1,560 US dollar.
So you don't have to use these if you don't need to, but South Africa might be the only country that it might be a little bit quicker, as it does take a lot of time at those services. UK, the UK is quite quick with their documentation authorizations. So once again, you sent your degree to a notary, the scanned copy, then it goes to the Foreign Commonwealth Office to get authenticated in London, and then finally it gets legalized at the Thai embassy. So all on a scan as well. Just on this note, the UK and Ireland are the only countries that allow a different type of authentication than every other country. So it's called an apostle. Every other country, Thailand doesn't allow the apostle to take place. So it has to be a full legalization. But UK and Ireland, the apostle is all that you can do, and it's completely accepted in Thailand. So gaining the stamp again, and this is the cost for each step to do it yourself, and the approximate total.
The expediting service is Apostle of the Hague, which is around 141. And this is the website that we have recommended some people to use it.
The Ireland quite similar, the notary, the authentication, and you do need to send it to London as well for the Thai embassy. This is about the cost in euros.
And for the expediting service, it's the same website with the UK, but for the process, you need to do the notarized by yourself, and then you start for the expediting service in the process of with the Apostle of the Hague, which is the authentication process. After that, and this is the rough course, which is the same in UK.
Canada, quite quick once again. So notary, authentication, and send it to the Thai embassy. There's 2 Thai embassies in Canada, one on the East Coast and one on the West. So it will correlate with where you live once again to get the stamp and the approximate cost to do it yourself.
And we recommend this capital authentication, which around 175 for expediting service for Canada.
Australia, 3-step process as well. For this one, Smart Traveller really helps out, tell you which steps to take and give you some links to help you as well if you are having trouble in Australia. It does need to get the notary, the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade to do the authentication, and then send to one of our 2 Thai embassies in Sydney or Canberra. You've got the cost there and postage not included.
And for the expediting service, there are some stage of the price listed below from Apostle Australia. And for this part, I think you may require the service only 3 parts, like authentication certificate, notarized certificate, and embassy and consulate registration. Yeah, but it's quite huge amount as well.
For the Aussies listening to this video or on the call, I personally don't recommend to do the expediting service. I would definitely try to do it yourself. Myself and Gib are always here to help you if you need it. And the Smart Traveller website really helps you avoid these costs as well. For New Zealand, quite similar, the notary, and then send to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and then the Thai embassy in Wellington. The approximate cost to do it yourself.
And we have asked BBS Global for the expediting service that they have a rough cost for me as 720, but it depends for each people's document as well. So this is for, I asked in general that the legalized degree for working in Thailand, then they give me this price, which is quite high cost as well.
Yeah. Once again, I don't recommend this price. So if you do have any problems and you're Kiwi, please let myself and Gib know. Europe's quite unique because it does depend, of course, which country in Europe you are from. Generally, it's a notary, then authentication, then legalized in your Thai embassy in your country. But Europe does require quite often people to go into the notary, the authentication office, and travel to the Thai embassy. I guess it depends on the COVID situation at the time, but from previous experience recently, the Dutch embassy did require people to go in, the Portuguese as well, worked with French and Italians recently. So just depending on your case, if you are from a country in Europe, just let us know and we'll be able to help you out individually as well. But it is a 3-step process, not a 4.
Yes, and for the cost, roughly for expediting service is about 160 euro. So for the expediting service, I recommend you to have a look on Google or some other search engine. As for here, it's just some simple suggestion, but you can find it. There are many agencies or companies that run this, if you would like to use that. So now we complete a step from the country that we are working with. You have any questions?
About anything at all. Absolutely anything.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hi everyone as well. So I'm from South Africa, obviously, and then my process at the moment is with DIRCO. So the SAQA one is done, and then the DIRCO one is just in process. It should come in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because it's been there for a little while already. But because the processes take so long, is it possible for when we get there on the 28th, is it possible for those documents, if they aren't done, to be sent to me by somebody else? That's okay? Okay.
You will be, it will be sent to your home. Why you are here, right? You guess? Yeah, if it delivered to your home, you can have, if you can ask someone to mail it to you while you are in Thailand, it's fine. Because we will start like the process about work permit around maybe 1 month after you have the orientation finished.
Okay.
You don't need it to enter Thailand. You only need it about 1 month after to change your visa. So it's no problem if it does take a little bit of extra time. When it does get to that 1 month time period, though, it's getting to crunch because we really need to change your visa over. So if it didn't make it, we'd be a little bit worried about you having to maybe do a visa run and come back in because you don't have it yet to be able to get the non-B visa. But it usually can make it. We'll just keep on top of it.
Yeah, I think that time frame should be fine because I think it's a month probably, and like latest that I would get it.
Yeah,
So,
no problem. Yeah.
cool.
And you're from South Africa, so you'd be coming in on a 30-day visa.
Yeah.
You can extend your tourist visa once until it's a 45-day total amount of time. So you would have a little bit of leeway before you definitely need to change your visa over.
Okay. Okay, cool. And we're just coming on that tourist visa, right, for South Africa? The Thai pass?
Yes, most probably for your case because you don't have your legalized degree yet. However, for everybody listening on the call, if you have all your paperwork ready to go, there is a possibility that you might be coming in on different sorts of visas. So once again, please don't book any visas yet until we tell you to, and also even for yourself. But it's most likely that if you're from South Africa and you don't have your documents together by the time you need to enter Thailand, you'll come in on what's called the visa exemption, which is a 30-day free visa, which can only be extended once to a total of 45 days, and then we change you onto a work permit. For people from other countries, it will be different. Most likely, if you don't have your paperwork together yet, you may be coming in on a 60-day visa. The only reason that you're different from South Africans is because the South African government decided to put stamps in people's passports saying they weren't able to get a work permit if they came in on the 60-day visa. So we want to avoid that happening to our South Africans. So we do what's best for each person from each country, depending on what that may be. Any other questions about anything? Or any agents in the call that are curious about anything at all?
I'm not an agent.
Oh, was that somebody? I'm just going to give it a little bit of awkward silence in case you think of anything before we end the call today, and this will be recorded and handed out to everybody.
Can I ask something not related to the legalization? I'm still kind of confused by the flight situation for when we get there and then booking a return after 30 days or something. So when we book flights, I know I'm not booking yet, but when we do, I book a flight from South Africa to Thailand, to Bangkok or whatever, and then my return just to a neighboring country, like the cheapest neighboring country. Or
Good question, and I really want to talk more about visas and flights, but as soon as I can give you when your arrival will be, we'll go way into detail. But to answer this question, if you're coming in on a visa exemption or a tourist visa of any kind, it does require an exit flight from Thailand. So it's up to you if you could find a flight that was a return flight within your visa time frame. So for you, it would be 30 days. So you need to return back to South Africa within 30 days, but you're obviously not returning to South Africa in 30 days. So once you got your working visa, you could extend that flight to a time where you'd actually use it. But most people are not able to do that. The airline's just not flexible. Maybe you get a terrible change price fee. So most people book the cheapest flight that they can find to a neighboring country within their visa time frame. So within the 30 days, they just book a $60 flight to Singapore or whatever it may be, and they either just never get on that plane or you move it to a time that they might be able to use it. It depends on you. It's just the Thai government legally requires you to show that your intentions on a tourist visa are to leave the country, even though you're definitely legally able to change the visa to a working visa, and then you don't need that piece of paper. Also, a lot of countries require to see your exit flight from Thailand when you fly out. So maybe South Africa will ask for this when you're boarding your entry flight because you've got the tourist or visa exemption. But some countries don't. But they will definitely ask you once you land in Thailand for they should to see your exit flight as you're going through immigration. But once again, Thailand's not too streamlined, so sometimes they might not even ask, and you've booked this flight, which legally was required, but no one ever asked to see it, which can be really annoying. But I guess the worst case scenario is that if you got to immigration in Thailand and they're like, where is your exit flight? You would have to then and there book one on the spot, which could be double the price. So we're trying to avoid that scenario.
okay, but I never get on that plane. The exit.
No. Unless you can move it in time that you would actually use it, you never get on that plane within the time frame of your visa. No.
Okay, and the working visa will definitely be done. That it will be sorted out by the time I'd have to fly out, technically.
If you have all your paperwork, it will be done. You
Okay.
just need the paperwork in order. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Any other questions about anything? Absolutely anything.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh, I can hear you a tiny bit.
Let me try turn it up.
It is very hard to hear you. We have a chat box function if you
Ah,
wanted to
okay.
write it in the chat box. Hi, Amy. Does anybody have any questions in the meantime? The question is, I'm just wondering whether it is likely that we will need to fly out to do the sandbox pre-quarantine. Yes, at the moment, Thailand does require a sort of quarantine. It's a 5-day test and go. So maybe they might lessen this even more by the time you come out, but it's quite new. So we're guessing it's not. Or are you looking into us being able to meet the requirements whilst we're at the hotel in Hue Hin? So currently we're still investigating what we would prefer everybody to do that's cost benefit to you. If you really wanted to do Phuket Sandbox, or if you really wanted to come down to Hue Hin, I guess your quarantine is up to you at the end of the day, as long as you can meet us at the meeting point by the 28th of March. So the 28th of March is the day we will pick everybody up from Bangkok. If you happen to go down to Hue Hin in advance, that's completely fine. You can meet us down here already. The reason why we don't recommend it is because it is a 3.5-hour drive at best down to Hue Hin. The hotels down here are very expensive for the test and go scheme, and they don't let you use the bathroom on the way down here either. So we're trying to cater to everybody's comfort level because it's supposed to be a sealed road for quarantine. So the better options would be Bangkok or Phuket. If you were looking at those, please don't book anything yet. We're trying to finalize the cost benefits for everybody first, but we are still planning to meet everybody in Bangkok on the 28th of March to start the program with us. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you for joining us today, everybody. We will send this recording out as well. And if you do think of any questions or you have any concerns or something's unclear, please let myself and Gib know anytime. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Cool. Thank
Thank you very
you.
much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.